Hello, Lauren. This is Katherine Potter. I'm a associate trainer at the foundation level with Will's program, and I apologize that Anne was a little too busy I think you had requested she critique your video. She's a very busy lady, and so I'm filling in for her. I hope I can provide you with some pointers. I invite you to go to Will's associate trainer page and read my bio so you have some idea of my background with Art2Ride. And I was, basically working level the last couple of years of training with Will and organizing 2 clinics a year here in central New York where I reside. So I think that'll give you some confidence that what I'm suggesting are things that Will would agree to. He's going to review the video before it comes to you anyway to make sure that's the case. So that's a brief introduction, and I will stop this intro and start the on-time critique after this. Hello, this is Katherine again, and I'm going to do the critique portion of my voiceover. So I wanted to let you know that I received the first submission that Will critiqued last June, and so I can see the huge improvement that you've been able to achieve since then, taking his suggestions of working in hand, which you're doing here, and basically keeping an eye on his development and improving where you can, and you clearly have a really nice feel for this horse. He's got a long way to go, but I think that already you've seen so much improvement. He's not tender-footed when he comes out anymore, and want to congratulate you on beautiful new arena. I saw the piles of sand in the corner at the end of the arena last year, and you've done a lot in 6 months, both with your facility and with your horse. So congratulations on that. So the work in hand is, it's very quiet. I really like that. He responds to you very willingly. He's not stuck the way he was last year. There are a couple suggestions that I can make because you're, like, I would say 80% there, and to get him to, I think you're asking for this critique because you kind of hit a wall, like it's staying the same and not changing, and I think that there's some minor improvements that will get you over the hump, and then once you do that, you'll see a huge change in him. So he's a lovely horse with a long gaskin and nice shouldered, long neck, and a super attitude, at least with you. You've corrected all the mental issues that were causing the bucking, and you're slowing down with him, which is what he was asking for, obviously. I think he has some weakness in the hind end that needs to be corrected, and I'm assuming you're doing some physio, chiropractic, massage type work with him because he needs it. I can't tell, I don't know what his age is, so I don't know if he could be arthritic, but the fact that he started out so stiff in the first video and loosened up out of it suggests that's a possibility. His conformation is so good that I think it should resolve itself with this work. So in the in-hand work, the two things that I would suggest is more contact with the outside rein and a little more shoulder in, leg yield position so that he engages that hind end with activity. And you've got to continue to give with some light contact on the outside rein to keep him going in a straighter line, and ask for more stretch. So his nose between his elbow and his knee is not going to activate the muscles you're looking to activate to make this work gymnastic and building. So if you, maybe he doesn't know how deep you want him to go, so one thing you can do is take up contact with the outside rein and then lift the inside straight up into the corner of his mouth. Usually that will activate him to go straight down. And then you've got, as soon as he goes down there, you kind of have to give so that he keeps his nose ahead of the vertical, and also ask for activity all at the same time. It's a little bit like rubbing your stomach and tapping your head at first, but you've got the basics here, so I think just adding on, you're not demanding enough of him. First of all, he's giving you about maybe 25% of what he's capable in the walk. This horse is going to have a monster walk when he gets strong enough over his back, and obviously you can't do that until he's built the muscles to get there. But you're not building that muscle right now with his head straight out from the wither. He's not building up into his wither. He's certainly loose and relaxed, which is a fabulous thing. But to get to the next level, you're going to need to get all the way down as far as he can go. I mean, he's got some development over in his trapezius at the base of the neck on top, so he probably won't go all the way to the sand, but you want to have that kind of, that's the direction that he's going, below his knee and reaching out as far as his neck will go, with as much activity as you can get him to go. I know Will said something about, you know, walking beside him on a straight line and getting the biggest walk that you can. The other suggestion that I had for you is to add some side reins so that he can reach into that contact with the outside rein, because once he knows what it feels like and he establishes it for himself, and then you start asking for it, that's a very comforting place for the horse to be, because they feel very connected to you. And then they'll start to reach into that contact, and that actually creates the full circle of energy that comes from the hind end through the back, over the neck, to the nose, and back to your hand. So that outside rein with impulsion coming from the inside leg is what you're missing here, and the complete stretch that he has to get to develop the muscles that'll support. He has a pretty weak hind end right now. You can really see that at the canter, and we'll talk about that when that comes up. The other suggestion, I don't think he's got hind shoes on here. Probably has front shoes on. I can't tell. But most horses, especially now that you've got sand to work on, and given that as his weakness behind, he's going to need to be shod to keep him comfortable and to stabilize his hind foot, because he has a lot of flexibility with his hind end, which is what you want, what you're looking for in any kind of horse, because that flexibility, once it's given strength, will give him mobility to do, you know, jumping or side lateral, you know, half passes with ease, and he's certainly got the build for all of those things. Another suggestion that Will tells people all the time is be very systematic in how you ask for the work. I think at the beginning he was so stiff at the beginning, you kind of had to go long to get him to the point where he loosened up enough to be able to do some better work by the end of the video in your first submission. Now he doesn't have that stiffness, so I think you can shorten the work and start, you know, in hand 5 to 10 minutes in each direction, asking for the fullest and most active stretch you can get on long lines and big circles, and then you can tighten it up if you want to add in leg yield and on the circle to get him more over his back and get him reaching more if he gets too fast. But you don't have that problem yet. And then maybe 15 minutes of lunging with side reins, mostly at the walk. So I really think that you need at least another month or two of 80% walk, 20% trot, no canter. the canter's just, hurting him. I mean, it's really rough right now. He's landing on his inside forehand so hard that the whole saddle jerks across his back, and I think it's sort of like Balador, where he's throwing his back out because it's so unbalanced, and he's bringing his inside hind way under the center of his body to protect something, and I don't know what he's protecting. It could be a matter of being on level behind, which if he is stiff, you can see even in the trot that he's a little slow in his rotation of the right hind. And he's coming way too far under the body, especially at the canter, so that he's throwing himself onto his inside shoulder and jerking through each stride. So that's not helping him. What happens when they're kind of hurting, and he doesn't have shoes on, if he's not level, it'll cause the rotation of the foot to come out and then back under his body. And then you're wearing down the sides that are increasing that tendency. So you're not helping him. So the shoes actually help to maintain level so that he can start to bring his leg through on a straight line. So he shouldn't be swinging the leg inside or out. You really want him to be as much as he can, and I think he's got pretty good conformation behind, so if his feet are level, he should be picking up those behind feet and coming through straight ahead toward forward direction, not swinging under his belly, especially at canter, you can see it. So adding the side reins will help with this counter bend that you got going on, and one of the things that's happening is when he gets below his knee and out with his nose, I don't know if you're asking him to slow down or if he's just uncomfortable there, he feels out of balance and he stops. Like I was saying, you want to start the lunging at the walk and then continue to do walk until you're done. And he has to keep moving. And then shorten your, if you feel like he's weak, shorten your sessions. Don't give him breaks because that is not conducive to gymnastic development. So he may want to stop because when he gets his head down to the right level, the optimal level that he can get at this stage of development, you're going to have to kind of reward him with a bigger circle and at the same time ask for more activity. And that's going to probably throw his head up at first, but over time, as you keep asking, don't let him stop because you're just going to stop the actual development at that point. So those are the few things with lunging that I would add. Side reins and don't stop. Stay in the walk for 80% of that time that you're on the lunge line, and then whatever period of time that you're trotting in each direction, he trots the whole time. And when he puts his head down, don't let him stop. You need to walk with him, keep him on a bigger circle as a reward for putting his head down, and ask for as much activity as he can get. And it's never a force because there's no way you can force him to go faster with his head down. He will throw, if he's uncomfortable and unbalanced, he'll bring his head back up. So you just, bring him on a tighter circle, ask him to, yield his haunches out until he drops his head again below his knees as far as he can, and then keep the activity or ask for more. You're just not quite asking. This horse is probably giving you 50% of the trot that he has when he gets to the point where he's strong. And I would say the same thing in walk, at least 50%. He's going to have a gigantic walk. He's lovely. Just love him. So under saddle, again, like Will said, your position is beautiful. He doesn't seem to be bothered by the saddle whatsoever. It's not changing. In fact, if anything, he responds better under saddle. So obviously you are very giving with your hands and your position is not obstructing him. The saddle is fitting him well enough that it doesn't pinch or alter his movement. So those are all positive things. The only thing I would add with the, again, it's no different than on the groundwork, more activity, both in the trot and the walk. No canter for now. You can try it every week or so to see how he's doing. And then when you get into the trot, I would stay on the outside of the arena. Until he gets to the point where he's actually as active as we need him to be. I would use as much of that big space. You've got a beautiful, huge arena. Use the whole thing. The more straight lines and big circles that you can keep him on, the more willing he's going to be to really push and get out there with his stride and start using those top line muscles. One thing I wanted to mention with the groundwork, if you work without the saddle a little bit at the beginning, you may not even be riding for a couple of weeks. Really watch what's happening with the muscles around the wither and the top of it under the saddle, because that's where all the action will occur. See, now he's almost getting below his knee, and he has to make sure that he won't poke his nose out unless you're asking for more activity. So you have to give with your hands. Don't ever take and push at the same time. You give and then you ask for more. And I can't tell in your video whether you're riding with a whip. He definitely needs that. If he's making the decision to stop, then you need a whip to say if he's not responding to your legs. And I can't tell from here whether you're asking him to stop. It doesn't look like it to me. It looks like he starts to get unbalanced and he just stops. And I'm not sure what the reasoning is there, but don't let him do that. Once you start trotting, just stay trotting. Shorten your sessions. He doesn't need a break. He might need a shorter session because you're losing the gymnastic quality again. So those are a few suggestions under saddle. Also, the whole thing of once you learn how to act and he understands what the outside rein means, you need to bring that into your riding as well, because you're pretty much, I mean, it's a very light contact, which is exactly what he needs, but he needs a little more direction from you on the outside rein, so he doesn't, as soon as he goes into a trot, it seems like he starts curving into a smaller and smaller circle, which is not going to help him reach his fullest stride and activate those muscles. And he starts here to actually go deep below his knee, and then you stop. So you're getting him right to the point where, so I think this is why you're asking for feedback, because he's not changing in his development, and you're not getting more, and that's because you're not asking for more. So it seems like, I may be wrong, you know, without the feedback from you, it's hard for me to tell, but that's what I'm seeing, is that you're letting him stop, and right when he's at the point where, when they drop their head, you got to ask for them to keep going. You can reward with your hands, because that's what you want, and be as still as you can, but you got to keep the activity. So you know your horse better than anyone, and you can figure out what works for him to keep him there. But starting and stopping, you know, you just do walk for 10 minutes, you know, under saddle, and then you trot for 5 and you're done in both directions. So you're really shooting for like a 30-minute, maximum 30 minutes with him, because I think you're right that his hind end is weak. But he's not going to get strong behind until you get him to that, like that, little bit beyond what you just had there. And again, I don't even think that's 50% of his total trot. That's beautiful. But again, you let him slow down, and he's got to be pushed. That's better. You pushed him beyond it there. But stay on the big circle. Don't let him shorten the circle, because then he's just slowing down. He's not ready for a 20-meter circle yet. Especially if he doesn't have hind shoes and he's not level behind. Well, this is actually probably the best part of your riding, right, in that 2 circles you had there. But if he was on a bigger circle and you had more outside rein contact, you could keep him on the big circle and ask for more. You know, you reward him at first when he really drops into the rein contact, but the reward doesn't have to be very long. Then you start asking for more trot and stay on the outside of the arena, so that he has all the room in the world. He just thinks that he's supposed to be on a smaller circle for some reason. I'm not sure why. It might be because of the fact that he's bringing his hind leg so far under his belly into the middle of his body instead of straight ahead, so it kind of throws his shoulder into the inside of the circle, maybe. Who cares? That'll go away once you ask for more and develop those top line muscles. and give him some hind shoes and make sure he's level behind, so he's pushing off, coming through straight ahead and not swinging under in a ellipse. Also, I couldn't tell if you were riding with a whip here, and that might be why he's not getting the forward aids to maintain. Make sure you have a whip so that you can ask very lightly with your leg. You know, I usually do give them 3 tries. If I ask with my leg once and I get no response, I ask one more time with my leg, get no response, almost immediately I follow with the whip, just tap. And a little more contact with the outside rein. Just the weight of the rein is all you need, but it can't be just a complete give. If he's turning into the circle on you, you've got to keep him on the outside with that outside rein and ask for more trot. He's right there, Lauren. I mean, he's so on the cusp of just being launched. I don't think like a month of doing these suggestions, and he's going to completely transform and start using himself in a way that he can build on. So really good timing on saying, I really don't know what I need to do at this point. And now you've got the feedback, I think, to get there. So in this canter, you can just see how, counter bent he is. If you watch that inside hind leg, look at how far under the center of his body it has to come, and then he just slams onto that inside right. So I would definitely be avoiding the canter for at least 2 weeks until you've got a more established big walk, as much trot as you can get, and you are going to be there. I mean, what a lovely horse. You've done just an incredible job with him, and I'm so honored to be able to help you even the little bit that I am here, I hope. You can certainly reach out to me via email if you're not on the forum, or PM me on Facebook. And if you have any questions about my comments, and I think you're so close, and now you have this beautiful big arena. I mean, it's all going to be just downhill from here. You've really set a great foundation for him, and he's going to really blossom in the next 6 months if you just get that extra amount of stretch and activity and the outside rein contact, which he'll learn from the side reins while you're lunging without your interference. So, and maybe a whip if you need it, I just don't know. Hind shoes, you can start with other things and come to the hind shoes, but I just think they're going to be critical. Well, thank you for the opportunity to support you, and I can't wait to see how he responds to all these little changes that I'm suggesting, and have fun. It's going to be a wonderful ride when you're done with him. My gosh, what a great horse, and a very good job. He's a super sensitive rider, and he needs that. He really does. Not a horse you want to force. He needs to build those strong muscles over his loin to support whatever's going on back there. So thank you again for your time and listening, and let me know if you have any questions.